Hey yo, and welcome back to AIW's The Card is Going to Change. My name is Ronald Two Legs, and as always, I am joined by AIW owner John Thorne. What is up, Thorne?
I'm here. I feel like I've lived like 20 lives since the last time we podcasted.
We have had an extremely busy schedule, and then you had some other stuff going on as well. You were out of town there for a little while. It was the whole thing. It's been a wild 2 weeks here. So
yeah, it's been a lot. There's been a lot going on. It feels like just so much happened out of nowhere, kind of, and then we got so much kind of on the schedule. You know what I mean? We got Wrestle Rager coming up. We added that September 14th show right outside of Columbus at Hoof Hearted Brewery, which is by all accounts looking like it's going to be like Wrestle Rager on steroids, with a much higher capacity. I think they draw like just what they do for this event every year. They project close to 1,000 people showing up without the AIW people. So that, by all accounts, is looking like it's going to be a wild day on September 14th. And then the revamped J-Lit that we can, if we get to it, I can kind of lay out a little bit of those changes and finalize that lineup over the last couple weeks. So things are going to start rolling out on Patreon here this week with some names who are going to be in that.
And that's what day is that again? September what?
28th.
28th, right? Okay, the Saturday, perfect.
Yeah. So lots going on, and just a lot of things in motion right now, which is it's a little exciting, a little nerve-wracking, you know what I mean? There's a lot of business happening, I guess. I don't know if that's good or bad, but there's things in motion right now, so.
We got a lot. I feel like we have had a very busy summer, and there's still more to go. Where do you want to start? There's a lot. We had a big show here Thursday night, kicking off Summerslam weekend, and we did other shows Saturday. But it was that where we might as well start at the beginning there. Thursday with.
Well, we got to start Wednesday. Our boys, the Goldsteins, came into town. We had.
That's true.
We started. We started probably a little too early with SummerSlam weekend on Wednesday night. Was not the ideal. I was not at full capacity for Thursday. I'll say that. By the time Thursday rolled around, I was hurting on Thursday, and there was just a lot of stuff going on Thursday. You know what I mean? Like the WWE stuff was just like happening in like real time, and like I was just like, man, I am not at my most clear right now. You know what I mean? Like it was a tough day at the office on Thursday. I'll say that.
The last blackjack table maybe wasn't the best idea to sit down at that several drinks that we had there.
Well, yeah, and I'm just happy that I didn't do the Duke's head and was like, yeah, just tickets are looking bad. Just take the budget and just bet it, and then you'll just double it and it'll be fine. But I was like, okay, I'm going to pretend that I'm doing that with $100.
We simulated that scenario.
And I fucking lost. And I was like, thank God. Thank God I didn't do that. I lost every single bet that we made at that casino. So
yeah, I feel like I really only won a little bit, enough to kind of like just kept me playing for a little bit. But yeah, that wasn't an expensive night at the office for sure.
Yeah, that was a bad way to kick it off.
A lot of fun, though. Had a ton of fun with the boys. The Goldsteins don't get to see them too often, and, it's not too often we get to sit at the blackjack table and stuff like that. So that was fun. That was a great time. The dinner especially was incredible, too, as well. So I was kicking it off, though. We kicked it off early, that's for sure. We didn't get to bed early by any means, that's for sure. And Thursday, I felt okay on Thursday. I was a little light in the pocketbook, but I wasn't as hungover as it seemed that you were, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was hurting.
Thursday. Worried drinking gin and tonics or something. Those are rough. Yeah. Those are rough the next day.
Yeah, I was hurting. The next day, and then there was just then you just can't sleep because I just had so many nerves going on about the show in general and wanting it to be a success. And there's just so much, there's just so much going on because tickets were bad. We talked about it, that there was no, you know what I mean? There was no, that wasn't like us being like, facetious or anything like that. Like, ticket sales were bad. Yeah. But there's been, obviously we've been documenting, we don't know where we stand really with Temple Live, and the manager who wants us to continue there, he wrote up a report to the corporate office about how many tickets we sold day of. It was something crazy, like nearly like 500 tickets like that day. Like it was it was like an astronomical day of, like, he's like, I've never seen anything like this. He's like, you don't see this for like major tours. He's like, the amount of people that bought tickets day of was just crazy. So he said he like had to write up, he called it like a flash report or some kind of, something to, send off to the corporate people to try to, get them, to, kind of ease up on us a little bit. But, we wound up, somewhere around like right around 600 or so, on Thursday, which was, like I was saying, it was looking very bad Thursday morning by our, estimations. So, the day of ticket sales were just, it was something crazy. It was like 400 or 500 tickets day of, which was pretty wild to think about.
Yeah, it really kind of, I don't say save the day, but it was definitely what we were hoping for as far as like walk-up tickets, which we have been getting strong walk-ups.
It brought us close. Like, I don't even, like, that show was so expensive, it was nearly impossible to save, but it certainly made it, it created a softer landing for us, you know what I mean? Which, by all accounts, like, I was looking at it, like, I didn't think that anybody was getting rich off this show on Thursday 8/1. I just wanted to do something cool for the city, throw down for the city, and like come as close to breaking even as possible, or take a little loss that was manageable. You know what I mean? I wanted to get it as close to that soft landing as possible, which we did. So I will. I'll consider it a success, which is strange to say, even though it was probably technically a loss once you get into the travel and the, all the nuts and bolts of the other expenses. But I will say it's a success because we did get, it was a soft landing, so to speak. And we did get close, and people did, really turn up on, day of with the walk-up tickets and things like that. So, by all accounts, we were pretty happy with it. I thought the show like overly delivered, and everything went well, as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, I mean, the show on paper was set to be a scorcher, but I do think the in-ring and everything that happened was above and beyond. I mean, and then you have the surprise, like you said, the WWE stuff in real time, that happening, and we had some ideas of some things prior that maybe could happen or could be opportunities or whatever. That's obviously a story for another time. But them two coming in, that was a good time, huh?
I mean, the thing is like that was never even one of the things that was in in the mix.
Right. That one came out of total left field.
And some of the other stuff, which I won't reveal because it didn't happen. I don't want to gauge expectations or disappoint people, but there's some travel issues that did cause some potentially things that were going to happen to fall through, but that happened in real time, which it's crazy to think. And like I'm not gonna you have to give credit to the way WWE is running things now to even allow something like this to happen, in so quickly. Like, I mean, it literally was set up at like 4 p.m. And it was just like, hey, Gargano sent me a text and was like, hey, how's it look tonight? I was like, I don't know. I think it'll turn out okay. And I was just like, why are you trying to go viral? Like as a joke,
Yeah.
you know? And he's like, well, I'm about to ask Triple H if I can do something. And I was like, oh, like I didn't think that, you know, I was just joking around. I didn't think that he would, you know, I didn't think it was possible.
Yeah. He thought maybe he's checking in. Hey, he's in town. Hey, how's it looking tonight? You know?
Yeah, like swing by or whatever,
Yeah.
you know, see some people. And I don't know, like 30 minutes later, 45 minutes later, I got a text that he said, Triple H, that sounds cool to me. Go for it. And they got like full clearance to appear and, you know, all that stuff. And it was just like, you know, they had WWE obligations. So like we had no time frame. And it was just like, okay, like this is where you park. As soon as you guys park, we're going to just work you in, you know? So like they arrived, like when they came out, they got there 5 minutes before.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't think people like realize they weren't there, you know, all night. You know, they came from WWE obligations and then they parked. They had none of that stuff was discussed at all. I said, go do whatever you want. You know, like this is, you know, I'm just happy that, you know, this is you guys are allowed to do it. And then the only thing they said is Johnny wanted his AIW theme, and then once Ciampa heard that, he wanted his indie theme, and that was like really the only thing that was discussed prior to them going out.
That was that was the fun part for me too, because they you know, you had said earlier, you know, to get when Johnny said Triple H said it was and that was funny too. You didn't even really mention that Triple H sounds cool to me. Like people can say whatever they want about that guy. That I don't know. That's pretty awesome with Triple H. Like yeah, sure, man, go ahead. Like seemed like he had no problem with it.
Right.
But you had told me, you know, to get that Johnny wanted his original AIW song, so I got that and had it ready. And then, you know, the whatever discussed with Ciampa, and he heard that, whatever. So he comes over and he says, "Oh, hey man, do you have a Psycho Killer by the Talking Heads?" Like I like, because sometimes people, for the most part, I can pretty much get any song you need. You know, we have it's the internet for the you know, so I can get whatever. And I said, "Oh yeah, you know, Talking Heads is one of my favorite bands." So I'm like, "Yeah, I got that one. I think you know what I mean. Like, pretty sure I could put that one on. Like, it was just nice. I came like, hey man, you think you can do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure thing, buddy." Like, it was great.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
they
couldn't have been like happier to be there and just like just give us that moment. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it was a bizarre feeling, you know, because in like even when they came back, like they were just like, man, like that is just such a different energy that like we haven't felt in such a long time. Yeah, you know, like because the indie energy is a little different. You know, I'm sure the WWE energy is just like insane, but like, you know, being, you know, in front of 600 like crazy people, you know what I mean, is like it's like such a more condensed energy. Like they were just like they were in heaven. I thought they were going to talk forever, to be honest, because they were like really enjoying themselves.
I think it was one of the things too. The audience got to experience what we talk about on the pod sometimes, just that element of surprise with wrestling. That's so fun and so like. That's what's great about wrestling. Obviously, no one had any idea. No one in that audience had any idea that, you know, DIY, Gargano, and Ciampa were coming out. Nobody had any idea.
I mean, nobody at the show had any idea until they walked in 5 minutes before. I mean,
right.
You know, like I had tipped off production, like, hey, like they said it's a go, but like I said, you guys just have to be fluid with this because they could show up at 8, they could show up at 9, they could show up at 10. You know, we don't know when they're going to get free. You know, they're just coming as soon as they're available to come. So I got like a on our way, you know, like 5 minutes away text, you know, and it just said, all right. I had, you know, people waiting in the parking lot and, you know, the parking attendants, you know, to wave them to where they could park and things like that. It was just kind of like it's such kind of like a funny, like, you know, operation, you know what I mean? And like getting, you know, making sure that we were able to sneak them in. And, you know, it worked out, you know, when you're able to pull something out like that off, like, you know, I just hope stuff like that, you know, buys equity with the Cleveland fan base with us. Obviously we can't do that all the time, maybe ever again, who knows, but I hope that we earned a little bit of equity with the fan base by pulling that off and giving them that moment.
Sure, and I mean, I just think it adds to, like you always say, like you shouldn't miss an AIW show because you never know who is going to show up. Like you said, maybe we can't do Gargano and Ciampa every time, obviously, but you have the fans in mind when you book these cards. You're not the type of booker who's like, I'm just doing it for myself because I want to. This is what I like. You have the fans, wants and expectations in mind as well. So when you book stuff like this, especially when you're able to pull it off, it's got to feel pretty good.
And to be honest, that's why I chose Thursday, because I thought Thursday was going to be our best shot at getting somebody from WWE to show up.
Right. Yeah, right. With Friday, with SmackDown and all that, probably be very difficult. Yeah.
So I thought Thursday was our best shot. So that's why I picked Thursday right off the rip. And I said, if something happens, something's going to happen on Thursday. It may not happen. And there was some other stuff that almost did happen. And some other people were left, weren't brought on the road that thought maybe they were going to be brought on the road. There was a lot of things kind of in the mix there for a little bit. But, you have to give WWE credit, some people probably hate hearing that. I know people have their feelings or whatever, but like, dude, they didn't have to do that. They came in, they did that. Johnny and Ciampa did that for free. They did it just to do it. Like, they wanted AIW to have a cool moment. And you just like, you can't hate on something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, definitely not.
Triple H didn't have to give us any of that, and forever thankful for that, because I mean that went crazy for days. Like, people are still tweeting about, like, I'm still getting notifications on the AIW social media about that, and it's just like that went crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Awesome moment for sure. I mean, there was a lot of incredible moments on that show. Kenta Broner was everything I think we wanted and more. I mean, that was an incredible. There was just so many spectacles. Heath, let's talk about Heath for a little while. I mean, man, that guy rules.
What a gem, right?
What a gem, dude. Man, Heath rules. Just what a great guy, man. We got to bring that guy back more, man.
Shut old 86 down.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Old 86 too. Great bar, man. If you haven't heard me ranting and raving about it on Twitter at all, but I mean, that Pants, great host. All the people that worked there, great hosts. Pants took care of everybody. That was a great time, man. Plenty of room. I like that bar, man. A lot of room outside, especially for the summer like this, man. Yeah,
when it's summertime, like that outside garage bar area is just like perfect for an after party.
Yeah, you really can't beat it, honestly.
I think we're gonna do maybe an after Rager party there, because I know they're gonna do some bands after Rager and stuff like that. Yeah. But maybe we go to, because Rager's gonna be over, early-ish. So maybe we do the after 8 p.m. at Old 86 or something like that.
That's some serious legend status. You make it to after Rager, that's some serious endurance there for sure.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are gonna make it, but that's. Pants and I were maybe discussing doing the after fucking legends only fucking after party. You know what I mean?
Oh man, that rules. Somebody was talking earlier about doing fantasy draft order, and they're like, we should have a race after Rager. And I think Dom was like, yeah, I don't think some people are going to be in any shape to be running after Rager. I go, I don't run at all ever. I don't ever run, so I'm last place for sure because I'm just not running.
Somebody's doing a race?
No, they were just kidding around how you pick the draft order. So you know what I mean? Whoever has the fastest 40 time will get the first pick. Yeah. I think they were just making a joke. But I was like, and Dom was like, after Rager? Yeah, I don't think so, dude.
Yeah, no shot. But yeah, I think Rager's going to be crazy. Added Marty Jannetty meet and greet just for the chaos. Swoggle's going to be there. Toying around with doing a totally unadvertised card, maybe just advertised talents. You know what I mean? I think that can maybe make for a little bit more of an exciting, atmosphere for Rager. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean?
We've discussed that before as far as when we did the mystery card at Winchester. I think mystery card rules. I think Rager would be a perfect show for that. You hit the music and that's who you see matches wise. I think that would be Rager is a perfect place for that person, I think.
Only about 100 tickets left, just shy of 100. So get them while you can. You know what I mean? I think it will sell out in advance. That is a show that there will be no tickets available day of. So get them while you can.
Yeah, because we've even had people try and show up before, later, like right as the show was starting and it being sold out. Like, you can't even move in that place.
Yeah, we can't make more capacity there. It is what it is. Once they're gone, they're gone. So get them while you can. Like I said, just under 100 remaining, and once they're gone, they're gone.
Still some stuff in the works too. Yeah, I know you've announced some good stuff. Like you said, we just announced Party Marty, Swoggle's going to be there, but I know there's still one or two more cooking in there. That'll be a great time. So I can't wait for Rager. I didn't want to pass up Against the World and even Slammed on 6 too. We still got to talk Slammed on 6.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to discuss. I mean, it was just like a crazy, crazy week, and I don't know if we can even break it all down. But I mean, PME the Machine Guns was incredible. I mean, the whole the whole Against the World card I thought was amazing. Really, I think everything over delivered on that show. Just across the board, Kaplan John Wayne Murdoch might be the greatest professional wrestling match that ever occurred on this planet. Dude. I mean, it was unbelievable.
That was every bit of what you wanted and more. But not only that, too, John Wayne Murdoch, another guy, can't stop giving praise to that guy. He rules. We got to bring John Wayne back. I know we got to see him in the Fonzie that time, but he really wanted to come to an AIW proper show. I chatted with him for a while. He was very anxious to get back for the show because, like I said, we did he did the Fonzie, but he really wanted to get an AIW proper, like in Cleveland type show. He knows the fans and so he really wanted to get here, and he said he had a great time. So John Wayne was great, man. We got to bring that dude back for sure.
Yeah, and I thought, man, what was really great about that match, and I have to give them credit for it. I mean, it's one of the most brutal matches ever. No blood, though.
Yeah.
Yep. And it is a brutal match. And I just thought, like, wow, like this is like you think about that after the fact and go, wow, like they didn't even bleed, and that was just like one of the most violent matches I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, because sometimes with the deathmatch wrestling or the that type of style, some of the sheer gore of the mat, whatever the big pops, or when you see a lot of big blood or whatever, somebody gets really busted open or whatever. They really put on a great, like, traditional, like, almost like WWE hardcore match where there was no blood, nobody gigged, nothing like that, not to expose to whatever.
But they just beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, it was just two bruisers just beating each other up, man, and it was just everything we wanted and more, and it was so great. Motor City Machine Guns, I know a lot of people got to do the meet and greet with them that were very happy because, that's an extremely rare appearance by those guys. So much stuff on the card. It was a great show, man. There was so many things to talk about. We didn't even really scratch the surface. Really, I mean, we did. I don't know how much you want to talk about, but we lent a little bit of hand with GCW on Friday as well. So we were back at the
it was a long
Friday.
It was a long weekend. It was great to see Nick Gage doing well. Haven't seen him in a while. He was in high spirits. He talked to Patty, which was incredible. Posted a picture with Patty on his Instagram, which I thought was great. And he's always just so appreciative. Which it's just. You always think, like, people just don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, in my position, like, I'm from the, like, just the mindset of, like, I'm giving somebody booking, and they really don't give a fuck about it, Like, for the most part, like, I've accepted that because that's the majority of the kind of, like, just demeanor that I get in return for the most part of, I've been doing this. Like, that's just the nature of the business. And like Nick Gage like pulled me aside when I got there and like talked to me for like 30 minutes just thanking me for like giving him consistent bookings when he got out of prison, and like went on this whole long thing about like how much the consistency of having work, because it was before GCW even existed, and how much it meant, to his life at that time and all this stuff. And I was just like, wow, like this is like fucking like a deep talk for fucking 4:00 in the afternoon. You know what I mean? Like on a Friday. But he was like really genuine. He's like one of the nicest, it's crazy to say, but one of the nicest humans ever. And, I was just like, man, like this is just like this is a really, this is one of the good, one of the good things, you know what I mean, that you experience through wrestling. There's so much bad stuff that you experience, and it's just like you hear something like that and you're just like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, some people do fucking give a shit,
Yeah, it was a good time, man. Nick's a cool dude. I saw him back there, got to chat with him for a minute, man. He was excited to do the thing with Matt Hardy, and that's like another thing that's cool about wrestling or guys like that, whatever. Like, you can just tell that, like, like Nick loves wrestling, man. Like, he was really jazzed up to work Matt Hardy and that whole thing, that, you know what I mean? So, like, that was cool. And Matt Hardy was cool. I got to meet him real quick, you know what I mean? The both, when they walked up when they pulled into the building, he was super gracious guy, said hello to everyone, you know what I mean? It couldn't have been a nicer guy, man. Matt Hardy
needed a ride, and I said, PME, you're driving Matt Hardy.
There you go.
He said, you worked the machine guns last night, now you're driving around the Hardy Boys. So they were excited.
I talked to Philadelphia, and he said that Matt couldn't have been nicer, and just the amount of info that he gave them, and like, he said it was like maybe like a 15-minute ride. He's like, it felt like an hour with just like everything that he was telling him, like, and how he broke stuff down. He's like, it was incredible. He's like, it was almost like a seminar in the car. It was great. He's like,
they were very happy about it.
Yeah. Oh man, so then rolling on, so just imagine these long days and shutting down 86 each night and then getting up the next day, going back to Temple. So then Saturday, we make our way over to West 6th Street.
That was early, boy. 10 a.m. 10 a.m. call time for Saturday.
Saturday was a rough one, that's for sure. That was a difficult one. Because at that point we're about 3 days deep. We do Wednesday.
I don't know what you're. Well, I had a 9:30 call time because I knew what kind of condition I was going to be in. So I said I am not driving. So Pedro was at my house at 9:30 to pick me up, and so I was a little earlier than everybody.
Yeah, and, with the parking situation, that was, a bit of a situation as well as, where we're going to park just because the show,
Shout out to Steve Guy, though. I mean, he fucking rented a van and created his own shuttle service, like, trying to get people around, which, you know what I mean? Like, we were all, like, the whole thing was kind of a fucking disaster, but, as much as everybody wanted to be fucking frustrated with Steve Guy, was not his fault. I mean, because those bars don't own those parking lots. You know what I mean? And like, once like that was explained, I think you know what I mean. More people people didn't understand. Like they thought, hey, like we're the performers. Where do we park? But like it's downtown Cleveland. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, people just want to bitch about something. I mean, it is what it is with that.
But like,
you know what I
mean? He set up a place to park and was running shuttles back and forth and so we made it work. And it was, you want to talk about a fucking crazy time. Slammed on 6. I mean, I don't know what the final count was, but I mean, there had to have been.
Yeah.
Right. I mean. At one point, like, there had to have been close to 1,000 people there during the main event. Like, Matt Justice was like, dude, I stood up on the top rope, and there was people as far as I could see staring at that ring. Like, all the way down West 6th in both directions and, like, all around it. Like, there were people fucking everywhere. That was crazy.
It was awesome, man. They had this like mobile bar that they brought out that was in the middle of the street. And when I'm talking like mobile bar, like I'm not talking
everything. Like they do that for the. Have you ever gone down there for a Browns game?
No, so that was my first experience with it. Yeah, it was insane.
They do that for the Browns games. Like they put that bar right in the middle of the street. Yeah,
like we're talking, and let me paint this picture for you. You know what I mean? We're talking. It is a like trailer unit that like unfolds like transformer wise. Yeah, like with bar stools and like big giant circular bar and then like a top over TVs that fold down, but then there's like a canopy over the top of it, so like you're shaded. It's not just it was insane. I feel pretty confident that I took some video with the GoPro for the backstage vlog thing of just walking around of all the vendors and stuff, so we should definitely have some footage of what I'm talking about, this bar thing. But there was just stuff everywhere. There was barbecue trucks everywhere. There was like this like vintage
vendors everywhere.
Like vintage wrestling stuff. Like it was cool, man. It was really cool.
Yeah, and there was just, like you said, there was just, in like it was like open container, drink on the street, like on that block. Like it was like that was a fucking party. Like that was super fun. I don't know a situation to where we could do that again, you know, and get that. Because here's the thing. It's like there were so many fucking people downtown for SummerSlam. I mean, it was crazy. And like everybody, it seemed, came to fucking Slam Down 6. I mean, I know we didn't get it all 60,000 people, but people were stopping by and just standing. Like there were just people in every direction that you looked. And it was just like, it was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know the situation where we could do that again, but I would love to do that again because that was one of the coolest AIW things that we've ever done, I think.
Yeah, that was crazy packed. Shout out to Chris Van Vliet. That guy was super cool. He came and did the MCing with Steve Guy. Him and Steve Guy, old pals. I know they were ripping some beers in the ring and stuff. Him and Steve Guy had a good old time. There was when they were doing tossing the beers. Yeah, they were doing shots and talk about a show that got crazy. That we need to Patreon only that thing because that sucker was wild. There was a lot of crowd brawling and a lot of like fan participation of like crushing beer. I mean, Matt Justice crushed many a beer on people's head, his own head, dumping beer all over. I mean, there was some chaotic matches that day. It was awesome.
And I mean, you know, we got to talk about it. Dex Royal unfortunately gets injured. God. And like those guys got a audible, so you know, because the paramedics are working on Dex, and they just fight all through the crowd, and it turns into this like crazy wild match, like fighting through all these people everywhere. And you know, I mean, it was an awesome experience. Probably live, you know, for the fans, and totally, you know, that's, you know, great for those, you know, other three guys to kind of think on the fly and get away from the ring so Dex can get worked on, and you know, just totally just bad break for Dex, just a freak accident. You know, I think he's going to be out for a few weeks, you know, maybe, you know, 2-3 months, I think at most. Is what he told me, but he had some other nagging injuries as well. So I think now he's just going to kind of, just let it all heal and get it all taken care of. But, man, just not the show to get hurt on, you know what I mean? There's, you know, show for everyone to kind of have fun, and, you know, he just gets hurt on just a routine, just freak accident. But what a just crazy great experience. They were throwing T-shirts away. You know, they were doing all kinds of just crazy stuff, and there was just people drinking in every direction.
Yeah, shouts to Dex for sure. That was terrible. And it happened pretty much right in front of Carson and I. And he goes, "Oh, look at his elbow." And I did the mistake of actually looking, and I've been injured many times, so I'm squeamish to stuff like that. I was like, "Oh my God, geez." But yeah, I feel bad for Dex. He had that great match before in the 6-way, you know, against the World, and then come out. But the brawling and the crowd thing, which like you said, great on those guys for thinking on their feet and kind of getting away. Shouts to Jeremy and all the paramedics that took care of Dex. You know, they got him out of there and got him in the ambulance as quick as possible. You know, I'm sure that was some brutal pain he was in. So, but the fans, like you said, I mean, Justice stood on that top row, and there was people as far back. So when they were brawling out into that crowd, like, you know, almost where we would put hard cam, like straight across from me, all those people that were back in the back that were maybe not getting to see real great, all of a sudden we're having dudes beating the hell out of them right in front of them. So that it engaged everyone again with the crowd and the fans and everything too. So that was like a big pop out of everyone. You know, people were just losing their minds over some of that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that whole show was great. You know, kind of stalled it out with some segments in between, and you know, we got everybody out of there in time to get into SummerSlam. I think we wrapped up about 5:30, and you know, SummerSlam started at 7, so we gave everybody plenty of time to get down to the stadium. I thought it was just the perfect scenario for us. You know, like Thursday I thought went great, and it was just kind of like two different presentations of AIW. It's like, here's the traditional show that we're capable of doing, the big super, you know, indie show, and then here's the fucking wild crazy party show, which, you know, we're masters at as well. And both came off incredibly well. I thought both shows were great. I thought Slammed on 6 was just like, everybody that I talked to, I saw people that don't ever come to AIW, you know what I mean? People that like, fucking, like friends that are just down there taking their kids to SummerSlam and stuff. You know what I mean? They're stopping by. They're like, wow, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Blah, you know what I mean? Like, people just love the concept that they were able to stop and watch wrestling before they went into the big WWE event. There was just a lot of that.
I know you saw him too, but you know who I saw? AIW superstar Jerry, dude. Saw Jerry down there. Yeah, a lot of faces, man. There was a lot of faces that we saw. But I mean, like you said too,
who's that guy that you guys were all taking pictures with, Mr. 2005 or whatever?
The crowd pleaser, dude. The time traveler from 2005. You want to talk about making my day? I have been following that guy on Instagram for a long time. He got put in a time warp, and he got brought here to the future from the year 2005. And he's just trying to get back to his time zone, man. He sells bootleg DVDs. He teaches people how to whip and
That's the year we were born, AIW 2005. He got my phone number. Dude, he asked me for my phone number.
Oh, we gotta work with that guy, man, because he needs some money to get back to his year. He's just trying to get back to 2005. But yeah, that made my day. I love that dude. His internet, his content is incredible. If you don't know, shout out the crowd, THA Crowd Pleaser. The time traveler from 2005.
Another cool thing is like there were some head honchos from like the city of Cleveland that kind of stopped by and checked it out that were impressed. So there was a lot of kind of collateral cool things that came from that. A lot of venues saw that too. Like we got some options coming out of going into 2025 just based on people seeing those photos and seeing what we were able to do, and it's different when you work with those those mainstream well-known places. You know what I mean? We were working with 4 of the most well-known bars in the city of Cleveland, you know what I mean, on arguably the most well-known bar street in the entire city. So it brought so much visibility to AIW. There's just, who knows what the what I mean, the dividends it's going to pay, but I know that there were a lot of people there watching it and checking it out, and it seems that it was very well received.
Yeah, definitely shouts, like you said, shouts to Steve Guy. I definitely think the vision that he had for what that could be as far as putting the AIW brand out there and the name out there, I definitely think, it worked out. It worked out great because there was just people all day, like you said. I mean, there was just people everywhere, friends and fans. I think so many of the fans had such a great time. I had a couple of fans, friends of mine that I know that been wanting to come to the show, been wanting to come to a show, blah, blah, that they, SummerSlam brings those type of like almost like a casual fan out, and then putting us right in front of them like that, couldn't have made it any easier to see us. You know what I mean? I thought that was it really worked good. Like I said, I had a handful of fans that came out for that are now coming. My buddy Nate is coming to Wrestle Rager for sure. My other buddy Eric is coming to Wrestle Rager for sure. Like that brought new fans for sure.
And then like on the flip side of that, I just had friends that like, they're just like, they know of WWE. They don't really follow it. Mm-hmm. They just came down to like party on a Saturday, and then they all wound up spending hundreds of dollars to go to SummerSlam because they were just having so much fun. And it was just like, there were a lot of people that just went to SummerSlam because it was just a big event in the city that day.
Yeah.
I saw people at work that were just like, "Hey, did you go to that wrestling thing? I went. I don't know anything about wrestling, but that was fun." You know what I mean? Like, it was like, I know this sounds ridiculous, but it was like the Super Bowl came to town. I have not seen downtown. I have not seen downtown Cleveland like that. Outside of a Browns game since the Cavs won the championship. I mean, the amount of foot traffic in downtown Cleveland, the day of SummerSlam, I've not seen anything like that. Since the years of LeBron. I mean, would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. And I think it was just cool for wrestling and wrestling fans. People like us, we like wrestling all the time. I
don't even think it was like, not even for wrestling fans. I think it was just cool for the city. I think there was tons of people that weren't even wrestling. Like WWE is so mainstream. Like, I think it was just people were down there because it was a big event in the city.
Yeah.
And they didn't give a fuck what it was. You know what I mean?
So my point was, like, I guess for wrestling fans, it was a time to really feel proud and be happy that we are wrestling fans, because it's like, look around, like, everyone is jazzed on wrestling right now. Even these normies who don't give a crap about wrestling are like, yeah, man, SummerSlam. Like, everywhere you looked around downtown, ton wrestling shirts, old school wrestling shirts. People, like you said, you could tell that maybe weren't in it for a while, but like, yeah, SummerSlam's in town. Let's go check it out. I'll break out my Cena shirt. Like,
even all the bars had like SummerSlam stuff on the windows and
everything.
You know what I mean? Like, it was crazy.
It was an awesome weekend.
Crazy.
An awesome weekend to be a wrestling fan, to be a proud wrestling fan. Like, hell yeah. Like, yeah, just the amount of just regular people that you could tell inside SummerSlam that were just having a blast and being happy and jazzed on wrestling was just cool to see as a whole. And like you said, for the city of Cleveland, the fact that we, had this in our backyard. I was talking to Jeremy about this on Saturday at the fair show. He went to WrestleCon and got to meet a bunch of people. He was like really happy with it because he's like, I got to meet all these people. He goes, it was a little expensive, but it's worth it. You only get to do that once ever, or whatever, in a lifetime, whatever. And I said, you got to think about it too. If you were going to do that anywhere else, you'd have to travel, the money it would cost to travel, hotel, anything like that, man. This was in our backyard. He slept at home every night. You know what I mean? You spend that extra money, go have that fun. Like, that was a once in a lifetime experience, and it lived up to it so much for me.
No, I agree. I think it was just such a great thing for the city. And I think, wherever these big WWE anchor events go, like, people got to go out and support them, because it just, even if you're like this anti-WWE person, it's just so good for your city and your community. It brings so much revenue. Like, there's probably no way to calculate the amount of money that brought in for the weekend. But I mean, every hotel was sold. Like, hotels were fucking so expensive.
Yeah.
Like, it brought in a ton of money to the city. It was awesome. And like, when we went to SummerSlam, shout out to Kevin Owens. He ended up gifting AIW with a suite to SummerSlam, which, cannot thank him enough for that.
Yeah.
So 20 of us got to go to SummerSlam. 22, because also got some floor tickets that we gave to I gave to Matt Wadsworth so he could take his daughter. So then we got to go straight from Slammed on 6th into a suite at SummerSlam and party for 4 hours. You know what I mean? Which, that's the real loss of the weekend, because I busted out the corporate card for that one and threw down pretty big.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah. I heard the final total, and it was.
Yeah, it was a lot, but I was like, yeah, give me 10 Coors Lights. She's like, oh, we only sell them in 12 packs. I was like, yeah, I want 10 12 packs of Coors Lights.
Yes.
So it was funny for a while.
She didn't think you understood at first, but you did. You're like, no, look how many of us are here. We're all drinking, like, yep, we need 10 of those. And then we got seltzers. I mean, there was all kinds of stuff. Yep. The biggest thing about that, though, too, was just how much fun, and I feel like Patty was having. Like, I think Patty, that was what Owens wanted. You know what I mean? Like, shouts to KO. Like, that was what he wanted, was for us to bring. That was like the number one thing, was make sure you bring Patty and Chandler's
Jeff,
brother. And which I don't ever really get to see Jeff too often. I don't get to really hang out with him or talk to him too much. I got to chat with him for a while. He's a cool guy, man. I've never really got to talk to him too much.
He doesn't come around to every show. He doesn't come like Patty does. But yeah, I mean, it was a great time. I thought it was great, just a good time for a bunch of us to go. I don't know if we watched much of the show at all, to be honest, because we were just having so much fun in that suite, drinking and hanging out and talking. And, then, people were coming by to our suite. I think at one point we had about 30 people in our suite. We were right next to Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah, some heavy hitter names were amongst those two suites for a minute there, man. It was cool.
Yeah. David Njoku, the Chief, swinging by. The one guy, second in command of the city of Cleveland, he came down because we were right by the mayor's suite. Mm-hmm. So he stopped by because I know him, and he knew a couple people, in our suite. And, he was talking about what, just the impact that WWE had, on the city over the last couple days. Just a really, really, really great time all around, just hanging out. in that suite, just and it was a good way to just kind of fucking put a cap on it. You know what I mean? It was just like Thursday we made, like I said, we hit that soft landing best we could. The only way it could have been better is obviously if we profited, but the Johnny and Ciampa thing, I think like far surpassed any of our expectations of what the night could have been, honestly. And then Friday, helping GCW, they did great. I think they had, I think, almost 700 people there, and, they had a great turnout, first time in Cleveland. And then, we went, right in a slammed on 6th on Saturday, right in a Summerslam, you know what I mean? Stayed in that fucking suite until they fucking made us leave. And then hit a couple bars afterwards, and then that was a wrap on SummerSlam weekend. But I mean, it was probably we're probably not going to get another one of those big anchor events unless we do get this big dome stadium when we get to WrestleMania, 1 year. But man, just incredible weekend, to come to Cleveland, and happy that we were able to put on two successful events. Well over 1,000 fans combined watched AIW over those two shows, I would say.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, and back to the WWE thing. I mean, I know you were pacing a lot. You could not sit down. It was funny how you were saying that, but I feel like we did all watch a lot of the show, because for as much as people want to say and give WWE shit about the product and whatever, that SummerSlam show ruled. I thought from top to bottom every match was a lot of fun. I thought we had a lot of fun with it every match.
Oh, I'm saying like just watching the show because we were just talking a lot, but like,
but it was so fun.
Everybody was popping for the big shit.
Oh yeah,
it was just fun, and it's just fun to just sit there and just just fucking enjoy something. You know what I mean, and not worry about anything after having those two. Well, it was really like three shows because we were helping GCW kind of it was all of our stuff. You know what I mean? So like it was
building people, facilitating that kind of stuff, and right.
Yeah, so I mean it was a long week. You know what I mean, for us, and to just kind of like take some people and hang out in there and just have fun, and just it was a really good time. And like you said, Patty, I think, really enjoyed herself.
Yeah.
And Jeff and Pedro, getting to take him, and I thought it was a really great time. Papa Pepperoni benefiting on a last minute no show, sneaking his way in there.
But that's the type, you need a guy like Papa Pepperoni in there. Talk about having a blast. I mean, everyone was moving seats. We were all over the place. Everyone was just kind of shuffling around all night. And man, I don't know how many times me and Papa were just hilariously laughing at something, one thing or the other. But it was just such a good time. I feel like he's like what you said. We were so busy. Everyone was busy all week. We had so much stuff going on. There was so many things to do, and just so many responsibilities of whatever, to end it like that and to just go up in there, watch that show. We were making jokes and this and that, getting to watch it with Sully, Nick's kid and stuff. I love watching wrestling with kids because they just get so into it. The kids around us in all the suites were losing their mind and screaming and yelling. It's like you get lost in it. You were just having a good time, cracking Coors Lights, and it was just a great night.
Yeah, it was a good time. Just can't say enough about it. You know what I mean? Like if WWE is bringing one of these big events to your area and you run an indie, you should definitely try to do something. You know what I mean? Because it's just there's a lot of just collateral. You know what I mean? There's a lot of collateral things that could happen. You know what I mean? If you do it right, and I think that we did it as right as we could. I'm very happy with how it all turned out, and like we had people, like Sean Hovan, who, is in the Discord. I know that, you finally got to meet him, people that, came into town, that no longer live in Cleveland. A lot of people traveled in for it. Just like, it was like it was just kind of like a Cleveland wrestling reunion in a way. You know what I mean? There was just so many good people in town just for such a big event coming to Cleveland. You just, we were just running into people everywhere we went, you know what I mean? And it was, it was the only thing comparable was like going to a WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome, man. And then, the train kept rolling. This past weekend that we just had, we had, two of our fair shows that we've been doing. The Minerva one, this was the second one we did. Their second Friday of the month, they bring AIW in. We do a little spot show for them. And then the North Canton Street Fair, which is a great day. That's one of the best days of the year for everyone. Everyone loves the street fair.
Yeah, I actually missed them both because I was out of town and I did not get back in town in time to make Minerva, and then Saturday I had a wedding to go to, and I was going to try to make a couple of the sessions in North Canton, and then I just was like, I was just a lot of, the wedding was like at 3 p.m., you know what I mean? So I was just like, it would be a lot of driving to make, one of the sessions. So I just kind of was like, but I was having FOMO about it though. I was getting antsy about missing it, to be honest with you.
It's definitely, I'm sure, a weird feeling to not be at the AIW show. I mean, especially
it's a super weird feeling. It's super weird.
You and I both have only missed like one or two over the last how many years. But, I mean, you got to shout out Pedro and Dom, two guys, had it handled. The shows, I think, went off without a hitch. Dustin was another guy, telling people what to do, making sure everyone was in place. All the students, taking care of biz. I thought the shows were great. Shouts out to all those guys. It was a great day. I got some. Me and Tom Dunn got this pulled pork sandwich with macaroni and cheese on there. I got chili dog. Carson was talking up this hot dog cart, man, that everyone had to go try. And then Kaplan was there, and Kaplan got a hot dog, dude. It was a great weekend, man. It was a lot of eating on Saturday, that's for sure. That's all I did in between the shows. That's all I did in between the shows at North Canton. I just go eat food. I just can't help. You get an hour. We do these blocks. If you've never been to North Canton, we do like blocks of wrestling. So there'll be like an hour of wrestling, and then there's like an hour down, and then there's an hour of wrestling, hour down. So they do them in blocks like that. So in between, I'm good. I'm just going and eating food. It's great. And I took a bunch of video with the GoPro of that for the backstage thing. Check the Patreon for that. I took a bunch. If you've never been to the North Canton Street Fair, I took a bunch of video to kind of show exactly, what goes on there, what it's like. That is a good time because there's stuff going on everywhere in that whole like mile like radius of whatever.
Oh yeah, it's great. I mean, it's again like just one of the it's just a great low pressure, fun pro wrestling atmosphere. You know what I mean? And we get to kind of, we don't have the pressure of streaming or any of that. You know what I mean? It's free. We don't got to worry about selling the tickets. Family friendly. You know what I mean? A little bit less pressure, and it's just a good time. And I think those shows really kind of add such versatility to the performers that come out of the AIW school, and it just helps them just become more adaptable, to different situations.
Yeah, it was a good time, man. I had a blast. Check the Patreon for those shows. Should be getting that stuff up. The worst case, we'll get the backstage vlog out there. I took a bunch of videos for that stuff. Speaking of the Patreon, you join the Patreon. You can get into our Discord. We open it up as we do every week for questions, stuff like that. There was a couple in there. Jose wanted to know, we kind of talked a little bit about the KO stuff, but if you didn't notice, when KO hit his run-in at SummerSlam, he was wearing the Chandler Biggins Werewolf Nightmare tee. And Jose kind of wants the story of the saga of getting that T-shirt to Kevin Owens. I know you mentioned that was in your closet earlier in the day, but
yeah. So he texted me like Friday night when we were at Old 86 actually, and he was like, "Hey, do you have a Chandler shirt?" And I was like, "I have a werewolf one somewhere." And he's like, "Can you bring it tomorrow? Can you bring it tomorrow? And he was working on getting us tickets and all that stuff. And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "We have a show in the afternoon. I'll just pack it, and then we'll figure it out at some point during the day." And then he ended up getting a suite, and he sent everything over, and that was a whole cluster, like trying to get people all their tickets. You know what I mean? Like that was a whole fucking thing because everything's so digital. and last minute. So I brought it with me, and then we actually never saw each other. They sent a talent relation, like some WWE person, like producer or something, knew where we were at, and then they came up and got it. He didn't tell me he's going to cut the sleeves off of it though.
Yeah, so you're going to get that back.
And I didn't get it back.
It looked pretty good though with the sleeves cut off. That was a cool look. It's a sweet shirt, man. But yeah, that was a great moment for everyone. Just AIW involved. I think that was just a great moment.
I think Patty, I think got a little emotional when that when it happened, when she realized what was going on. Because we didn't really tip Patty off, but I think she kind of was in there when they came up and got the shirt.
Yeah.
But they weren't so discreet. They're like, "Hey, someone's got a shirt for Kevin." But it was that was pretty much it. He had asked me for it on Friday, and I guess Saturday morning about 1:30 in the morning.
Man, that's fun. There's so many stories, and we'll have to one of these times we'll do a round table just talking about all the things that went on, because I'm sure there's so many more stories to come out of it. Scott, random old pal Scott, we saw him all weekend a ton. He wants to know where Heath kind of rates on the Sex Ferguson Good Brother scale, like where we rate him on bringing guys.
Oh, he's 10 out of 10 brother for sure. If I knew like where we stood as far as the schedule, like he would have gotten more dates right then and there. Like he was great.
Yeah, that dude ruled. I still think obviously we got to figure out some dates and get that guy back, because man, he was good. At one point we were eating that pizza, he was like, "Man, that's pretty good pizza."
Oh, you got to tell that story. You got to tell. This is great.
So we're sitting there. My son's talking to me in the background. So we're sitting there eating this pizza, and at one point you go, because Oldie 6 is great, but I mean we're getting to the point where it's closing time. There's no food to be had, yada yada, and you go, "Hey, we gotta get some pizza over here." Heath's kind of hungry. We gotta get some pizza for this guy. So we'll take care of it. So I whip up DoorDash and I get whatever the closest, most reliable thing I can get over there. So we're sitting there eating it. He's having a slice, and man, he looks around. He's like, "This is pretty good pizza." I just don't think maybe he just didn't know what it was. He's like, "This is pretty good." I'm like, "Yeah, Papa John's." I was like, "You guys don't really have Father John's in your neighborhood?" I was like, "Not really." Like, he just didn't really. I don't know whether he realized or what, but it was really funny, man. We were all like, "It's just Papa John's, dude." He was like, "No, man, this is good." I'm like, "Well, it is 2 a.m."
Yeah, he was loving that Papa John's.
Who doesn't, though, man? Father John's is good pizza.
He was in his element, though. At one point, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. He was sitting at a stool in that garage, and Welcome to the Jungle was playing.
It was interesting if you think about it. We saw all pieces of 3-man band on that weekend, because we had Heath on Thursday, we saw the Maharaja on Friday at GCW,
and we saw Drew Russell at Summerslam.
Yeah, that's true, dude.
Yeah. We were just missing Swoggle.
Yeah, man, where the hell was Dill? What the hell? But yeah, I mean, like I said, we'll have to do a real deep dive as far as just maybe the SummerSlam stories, and just go into just funny things that happened that weekend. Because man, yeah, there was a lot of them for sure. Because what a good weekend, man, that's for sure. Anything else you want to hit before we get out? We've been running here for about an hour or so.
I guess just real quick, I'll get into the J-Lit changes, just to reformat a little bit of what we're going to do. So we are scaling it down to a 1 day. It's going to be 2 sessions. It's going to be an afternoon and an evening. It's going to be scaled down from 24 performers to only 16. All current AIW champions are excluded from entering the tournament. So that includes tag team champions. Yes. Based on, how Eric Taylor kind of found a loophole and, cashed in on the Intense title last year, we are now excluding all championships from participating. So, anybody with a championship is now ineligible from competing in the J-Lit tournaments. to kind of scale it down. It is going to be competed in 8 singles matchups in the first round, and then they will advance into 2 four-ways for the second round, and then the final will be a singles match. So, the first show will be all the first round. That will be the afternoon, and then the night show you will see the second round and the finals, and then you will see various matches filled in there in the middle, and that's where you'll get some championship defenses and things like that on the nighttime show.
Special attraction type deal, like
correct. So just we're going to toy with the new format this year. See if that's kind of fixes the problems that we've had the last few years with the JLIT weekend, and maybe it's been a little bit too much of an undertaking financially, time, all that stuff for people. Yeah. Now we're making it one day. We've made it much more affordable. You can go to both shows front row for only $75. And we've reduced the prices dramatically, to attend both shows from there. Everything's on sale right now on Eventbrite. I believe over 50% of the front row is already gone for that. So 16 names. That's all you're going to get this year. Lots of fresh faces are coming in for it. I've secured. So we're focusing really more on a kind of in-ring presentation as opposed to the spectacle that the JLIT has been in the past. So a little less on the attraction matches as far as like you're getting your legends in the tournament and things like that, and it's going to be more modernized types of things. So that's kind of what the gist of it right now. So get those JLIT day tickets. It's not a JLIT weekend per se anymore, but and then we're also working on getting an after party and all that stuff settled in as well.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited for JLIT, and I want to lay it out for everyone as far as to why. I think it is a fresh, brand new kind of way to look at the tournament as far as how you're doing the matchups and everything like that. But it's also much more of a bite-size kind of event of it. It's one day, so it's not spread out of a whole weekend. You don't have to worry about traveling, it's lodging or anything like that if you don't want to. But it's also at Akron, which I think is a perfect spot for this. Literally a half a mile away from the venue is a giant plaza with a Chipotle. There's a Ronald's place. There's a Charlie's steak place. Like there's a million places to eat in between. Free parking. Like in between the shows, you can go get food. There's a Walmart right there if you need anything. There's a ton of stuff right there at that Arlington Road exit. So no one should have any problems with. I know some fans, and I get it. I understand. And the temple doesn't have the the most luxurious of food selections and drink selections. The temple has their own concessions that we all know are great. Brownie sundaes, for God's sakes. The pizza, the drinks. They have plenty of stuff. The full bar selection. I think this JLIT could be a really great time with where it's at. With the reimagined tournament. I think this is a great way to do it. I really do.
Yeah, so we're going to give it a shot and, see how it goes with this new, kind of retooling of everything. And I think, I'm excited for it. I think, this is, potentially, it's needed to be, messed with, and I took a lot of feedback from a lot of different people. A lot of people provided feedback in the Discord a few months ago, and I've spoken to a lot of different people about it, and I think that maybe going the one day route might be the way to do it. And if it's not, it's not. You know what I mean? But we're gonna give it a shot. We're gonna try it. Scaling it down, less talents, and more condensed. Like I said, we're trying to make it less financially of an undertaking, less, time. You know what I mean? Like, you don't got to go we've taken fresh meat off the table. You know what I mean? It's just 2 shows. You know what I mean? It's not 3 shows over 2 days. You know, any of that stuff anymore. Yep. You know, no Ticketmaster on this one, so you know you're not gonna get killed with the Ticketmaster fees and things like that. So, trying to make it is easily digestible for the fans as possible, and hopefully this is kind of the what was missing.
I think it's great. I think everyone hated the idea of not doing it. We want to keep that going in honor of JT, and I think this is a perfect idea. I'm very excited to try and see it come to fruition.
So that'll be September 28th. So right now the schedule goes 8:24 Rager, 9:14 Wrestling Eruption at Hoof Hearted Brewing in Moraga, Ohio, I believe is how you say it.
Basically,
it's right outside of Columbus.
Yeah.
And then J-Lit on 9/28. It's looking like maybe October off, maybe Halloween show, undetermined right now, and then kind of everything's up in the air from there. So,
yeah. All right. Well, anything else you want to get to before we get out of here?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, we'll see everybody. Rager, if you don't got your tickets, get your tickets for Rager. Like we said, under 100 tickets left. That show will sell out without a doubt. It's the craziest party of the summer. So get your tickets. All kinds of stuff going on for that. Swoggle, Party Marty. We got all kinds of stuff going on for that one. So get your tickets, and we'll see everybody at Wrestle Rager. We'll see you next week. For myself, for John Thorne, for AIW. Thanks.